ये सर जो पार नज़र आता है हमारा ये एरिया आप देख रहे हैं, तो ये जो है ये भी हिंदुस्तान की हद का एक्चुअल लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल है। और इसी पार से चाहे वो उस एरिया से हो चाहे इस एरिया से, वहाँ से वहाँ की गोलाबारी होती है और हमारे इस एरिया से यहाँ से गोलाबारी होती है।
On November 13th, shells started raining down on Uri, a town that's just miles behind India's contested border with Pakistan, called the Line of Control. Residents say the barrage lasted for 12 hours.
ये एरिया पूरा भरा हुआ है, जहाँ पे कुछ गोले मतलब फटे हुए हैं, कुछ इस तरह से हैं। तो ये हमारा एरिया वहाँ पर भी और इस हमारे पूरे एरिया, अगर आप यहाँ से ऊपर तक जहाँ तक हमारी बस्ती है, तो हर जगह आपको मिलेंगे, हर जगह कुछ न कुछ डैमेज ज़रूर हुआ।
India says Pakistan deliberately aimed at residential areas. 6 civilians were killed on this side, in what became one of the deadliest days along the line of control this year. Moments before the attack, Bashir Ahmed Dar's wife asked him to get firewood so that she could prepare lunch. She was still inside their house when a shell hit.
ये सेफ है ना? हाँ ये सेफ है। ये किसका खून है? आपकी वाइफ का?
हाँ जी सर, हम दोनों यहीं पर खड़े थे सर। सर उसको जब लगा एक चोट यहाँ सिर में आई, दूसरी चोट सर इधर इस साइड में आई, लेफ्ट साइड में सर, दूसरी चोट उसको इधर पीछे से आई, 3 चोट उसको लगी थी सर। जब उठने की काबिल थी नहीं सर, हम कहाँ उठाते।
36-year-old Faruqa Begum was the mother of 5 children.
ये सर घर वाली का बात समझो, 9:30 के बाद हमने लिए दफनाए। फिर सर जब गोलाबारी बंद हुआ तो 11 11:30 अगस्त से इसकी डेथ हुई है सर।
In addition to the civilians who were killed, 5 soldiers also perished in what India called an unprovoked attack. India also sent its own barrage of rocket fire, saying it hit military installments. But Pakistani officials claim it targeted civilians, and just one of the 6 people who died was a soldier.
वहाँ पर पाकिस्तान वाले मारते हैं, वो भी मारते हैं किस पर? बुजुर्गों पर मारते हैं, गरीबों पर मारते हैं। जो हिंदुस्तान वाला मारता है, यहाँ से मोदी मराता है, वो भी गरीबों पर मारता है, पाकिस्तान वालों के सिविलियन पर मारता है ज़्यादा। ये गद्दारी है सर।
This was a recent ceasefire violation along the line of control. And over the last several years, those numbers have grown exponentially, reaching a peak in 2020, with about 3,000 violations committed by the Indians and around 4,000 by the Pakistanis. The uptick in cross-border attacks correlates with political power plays over disputed lands. In 2019, Prime Minister Narendra Modi changed India's constitution to take away the special autonomy of Kashmir.
One nation, one constitution.
That move weakened Pakistan's claim over the Indian-controlled territory. But more than a year later, Prime Minister Imran Khan responded with his own political shakeup, announcing that he would incorporate GILGIT-BALTISTAN, a contested territory that borders Kashmir, as Pakistan's 5th province.
एक तो सुबह का मसला है जो कि हमें सुबह चाहिए, खुद मुख्तारी चाहिए। बहुत सी परेशानी, इंशाल्लाह सारी परेशानियों का हल ही एक खुद मुख्तारी यानी सुबह का हल है।
The same weekend as the ceasefire violations occurred along the line of control, Pakistan held an election in Gilgit-Baltistan, a move India said was an effort to cover up an illegal occupation.
मैं आपको ये बता दूं कि इंडिया हमारा असली दुश्मन है। We were Pakistanis, we are Pakistanis, we will remain Pakistanis, inshallah.
The promise of statehood played well for Imran Khan's ruling party, the PTI, who swept this election by embracing anti-India rhetoric and with a tiny bit of help from a very powerful ally.
और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह we are proud of our army, और रेड आर्मी, चाइनीज और पाकिस्तान की पाक आर्मी ने मिलकर इस CPEC को कामयाब करने का तहिया किया हुआ है।
CPEC, or the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, is China pumping in $70 billion to build Pakistani roads, dams, and electric grids to help make the country its direct pathway to the Arabian Sea. That route starts in Gilgit-Baltistan, making the disputed region's political future a matter of Chinese national security.
This was the Chinese idea, right? And they floated it in 2015 because they need to have partners that they can pay off. Now, they'll also say that if they're going to be making these massive investments in what is essentially contested territory, they would like the status of this to be resolved.
Pakistan is trying to use its partnership as part of a diplomatic offensive to secure its claims over these disputed lands. Days after it exchanged fire over the line of control, it went to the UN with evidence suggesting that India was funding terrorists to attack these Chinese-funded projects, a claim that New Delhi rejects.
If, as the dossier suggests, they are engaging in activities in GILGIT-BALTISTAN that kill civilians, that's not a good use of some conventional assets. They should be going after ISI personnel. They should be going after the people who handle the terrorists who target India. They should go after the terrorists themselves. If India is doing even a fraction of these things, India is doing what a responsible state should be doing with a neighbor with an absolutely incontrovertible record of doing this in India.
China says it supports Pakistan's efforts to crack down on terrorist forces, but it stops short of blaming India directly. But it is pressuring New Delhi through less diplomatic means. Since May, Chinese troops have been encroaching on India's northern flank, opening a second front that's forced India to divert focus away from the disputed areas with Pakistan in the west to China in the north.
Do you think Pakistan has been emboldened now that China is sort of weighing in on this other front?
So there's no question about that, right? That China is taking a much more assertive role is a reflection of the fact that it has a lot of skin in the game financially.
As the leaders of the competing Asian powers vie for dominance, the people who live along the line of control are left to bear the consequences.
पाकिस्तान वाला बोलता है इमरान खान मुझे सीट चाहिए, हिंदुस्तान वाला बोलता है मोदी ये मुझे सीट चाहिए। मैंने हिंदुस्तान को मिलेगा न पाकिस्तान को मिलेगा, लेकिन कभी आज़ाद भी नहीं होगा। इसका झगड़ा ऐसा ही चलता रहे। वो ढूंढते खाली ज़मीन हमें चाहिए, लेकिन बच्चों का या इंसानों का कोई हाल नहीं है। वो ये नहीं सोचते ये वहाँ बचनी चाहिए।